Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Glock Chef here. I'd like to take a second and apologize for the lack of video content that's been coming out the last couple weeks. It's been a busy couple weeks. Everything's picked up at work and just celebrated my 10-year class reunion. So, class of '09, we are oh so fine. It's been great seeing you guys this weekend. Love you all. Hope you guys check out the videos. For those of you who have been here before, I appreciate you coming back and taking a look around. For those of you who are new to the channel, I invite you to take a second and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and go ahead and share it to all your buddies. I hope to get some good stuff out there and put some good information in your heads. And again, for those who have been here before and for those who are new to the channel, make sure you hit that bell so you get a notification when a new video drops. Tonight, I'd like to take a second to talk to you about selecting your first handgun. This is a question that was brought up at my reunion by many people. Glock Chef, how do I know what gun I want? How do I pick my first handgun? Or Glock Chef, I think I've made a mistake. I think I picked the wrong handgun. And there is nothing worse than someone who goes to a gun shop to pick their first handgun and gets bad advice. It can turn a shooter off from shooting for the rest of their lives. Next thing you know, they've just made a $400, $500, $600 purchase, and it's just going to sit in a drawer. They might pull it out if someone invades their home, or they might just get it stolen when their home gets robbed when they're not at home and they're at work. So, tragic things can happen if you select the wrong handgun. If you don't like your gun, you're not going to shoot it, you're not going to carry it, you're not really going to care about it. You're going to put it in a drawer. It's going to be there if you need it. It'll take care of you. But you're not going to take it. You're not going to enjoy it the way that it was meant to be enjoyed. Guns are meant to be shot at the range. The range is meant to be a social activity. It's something that you're supposed to enjoy doing. If your gun hurts your hand, you're not going to enjoy that. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. The first is the little lady syndrome, and I feel a lot of gun shops fall into. Fortunately, here in Indianapolis, we've got a plethora of great gun shops. On my personal favorite, U.S. Defense Solutions, County Line Road and 37 in Greenwood, Indiana. I do a lot of business with those guys. We've also got Beech Grove Firearms here in Indiana. We've got Indy Trading Post. We've got the gun shop that was known as Pop Guns. I don't know what they're calling themselves now. We've got Plainfield Shooting Supply. We've got a plethora of good gun shops in this area. But like I said, if you're in the area, you're in the Greenwood area, you're in the Indianapolis area, I'd check out U.S. Defense Solutions. But that being said, I'm not here to plug a gun shop. I'm just here to provide you with a wealth of information. I just wanted to brag that I'm lucky enough to live in an area that has a bunch of good gun shops that you can go to, that you're not going to be treated like a second-class citizen because you're buying your first handgun. There's been a number of gun shops that I've gone to outside my area where I have seen a female customer come in and it's, oh, well, my husband says I should buy this. Or you'll see a gun shop owner direct them towards a small revolver or towards a small semi-automatic because it's going to be more comfortable for you. It's going to be smaller. It's going to be easier for you to carry in your purse, easier for you to carry in your pocket, easier for you to carry on your hip. Well, here's the thing, folks. That little lady syndrome, where you're trying to push a female shooter towards a smaller gun because she has smaller hands, that's not necessarily for her benefit. You need to find the right gun to fit your hand. And what I mean by that is not necessarily a small gun for a small person, but the right gun for the right person. Now, that being said, how do you know a gun fits your hand? You should be able to comfortably rest all four fingers of your dominant hand on the grip of the gun for your first gun. You should be able to comfortably reach all of the controls for the gun, the slide lock, the safety if it has one. I personally recommend you don't buy a gun with a manual safety for your first gun. Learn to shoot it, learn to respect it, learn to carry with one in the chamber. But it's important that with your hand firmly gripped around the gun, that all four fingers comfortably fit the grip, that you're able to properly index your finger along the side, and that with that grip, you're able to comfortably reach all of the controls with the thumb of your shooting hand. Now, that being said, if it's just a little bit off and it requires minor alteration to the firearm, it's fine. Personally, I have a little bit of trouble with the slide lock on my Glocks. So I put an aftermarket slide lock on there that's easier for me to grab. No big deal. But I'm able to comfortably grip my gun. If you have to put a pinky extension on the magazine, that's fine, as long as you can comfortably grip the gun. Now, the next thing that you want to check is you want to check your barrel length and your sights. For your first handgun, probably don't want sights that are milled out of the slide. You're going to want a sight that raises up over the side that's made of a good quality metal or good quality polymer. Now, Glock, the first factory sights that come on a Glock are going to be polymer sights. I instantly recommend you ditch those and go with a good set of night sights, such as those made by Trijicon. But if money is an issue, those Glock sights will do you well. Some of your 1911s that just have the dovetail sights cut into them, or the standard military GI sights, I would not recommend those for your first handgun because it's going to be difficult to acquire those sights under stress. So you want a gun where the sights are easy to see, that has a decent slide radius. Now, what do I mean by a slide or a sight radius? That is the distance between the front and rear sight. The greater the distance that is, traditionally speaking, the easier it's going to be to acquire those sights under stress and under pressure. The easier it's going to be to line those sights up and the more accurate you're going to be. You're also going to want a barrel and a frame that's long enough to sufficiently absorb recoil for the caliber that you have selected. I personally, for a beginning shooter, recommend that they buy the biggest gun that they can comfortably fit in their hand and that they can comfortably carry. In many situations, I recommend a gun such as the Glock 19, the Smith & Wesson M&P 9C, or the Springfield XD. I like these three guns as a beginning gun for a number of reasons. The first being that they still have that good sight and slide radius. They're still a full-size enough gun that they're going to be pleasant to shoot at the range and absorb the recoil. And they're going to have a grip that's going to fit your hand. The most important thing to figure is that the gun needs to fit the owner. If you've got a small 6-hour P365, Glock 42, Glock 43, those are excellent carry guns, but they're not for the beginning shooter. A small snub-nosed revolver, it's a great concealed carry gun, but it's not for the beginning shooter. And the reason I say this is because those smaller frame guns are going to lend themselves to higher recoil. They're going to be snappier. They're probably not going to have sights that are as good as your Glock 19 sized guns, your medium sized guns. And they're going to be, in general, harder to use. You're going to have the difficulty aspect ratcheted up to 10 when reality has hit and you're a shooter who needs to be around a 3 or 4 difficulty level. Now, that's nothing bad. Everybody has to start somewhere. But if you buy one of those small compact guns just as a carry gun and you think, oh, well, I can carry this gun, no problem. And then you get to the range and you shoot it and it hurts, you're not going to carry that gun because you're going to think, oh my gosh, that gun hurt my hand. You're not going to take that gun to the range. Next thing you know, it's sitting in a box, sitting in your drawer. So, that being said, when you select your first handgun, you need to make sure that it fits your hand properly, that you can get at least all 4 fingers on the grip comfortably, that you can reach all the controls with your dominant shooting hand, and that you can comfortably index your finger along the side and still reach the trigger with no issues. You're also going to want to make sure that you've got a good sight radius, that you've got at least 3 or 4 inches worth of sight picture to see, and then you've got a good set of sights on top of your gun that's easy to acquire under stress. The most important thing is that you pick a gun that you like. It does you absolutely no good to pick out a gun that fits your hand, that is comfortable to shoot, if you just don't like the gun. So, if you want something in stainless steel, buy something in stainless steel. If you want a pink gun, by all means, Buy a pink gun. Doesn't matter what color the gun is. It doesn't matter how you accessorize it. If you want it, buy it. This is America. Buy your gun that you want, but make sure it fits you first. Now, once you've got your first gun and you've gotten good with it, and you've gotten proficient with it, and you've taken training classes to become proficient with your gun, well, by all means, let's go look at those small, compact, concealed carry semi-autos and those small snub-nose revolvers. Those are great little guns. I absolutely love them. And I think that everybody can enjoy them. I just don't think they're the right gun for you to pick for your first gun. The most important thing that you can do when you buy your first handgun is go to a range that offers the handgun that you think you like for rental. Rent that handgun. Shoot it under supervision. Take a class. There's several gun shops in my area that offer classes, and if they don't offer classes, they can hook you up with a qualified National Rifle Association certified instructor, USCCA concealed carry instructor, or for those of you who are in law enforcement, get with one of your ILEA instructors and see if they'll run you through a course with the gun. So that way you can try it out and put it through its paces. That being said, for your new shooters, it is very important that you try out your gun before you buy it if you have the ability to do so. Right now, currently, there's only 2 ranges in my area that I am aware of that has rental guns that will be used. And the first is going to be Point Blank. They have rental guns. And then Indy Trading Post did, but I'm not sure if they will after their remodel or not. So if you're in the Indianapolis area, your options are kind of limited on ranges that offer rental guns. But I suggest you go in, rent the gun that you're interested in, shoot it, make sure it's comfortable, and then go buy it from a small-time gun shop. Your small-time guys are going to take real good care of you. You don't want to go to a big box store because they're not going to haggle with you on price. They're not going to have a used one. They're going to sell you what's on their floor, and that's it. I've seen people go to big box stores and spend several $100s more than they would have spent if they had just gone to their local gun store. So support your local gun stores, folks. That being said, now that you've shot your first handgun, you've decided you like it, how do you buy it? Well, when you go to a gun shop, you take your money, take cash. 99% of the time, if you show up with cash in hand, the gun shop will cut you a better deal right off the bat. Gun that might be listed as $550, you might get out the door paying $545 for it with no tax if you pay cash. You might end up walking out the door paying $500 for it if you pay cash. It all depends on what gun it is and what the gun shop has on the markup. I'm not going to tell you every gun shop is going to give you a certain markup off the price. I'm not going to tell you what that markup is. I don't know. Different gun shops pay different prices from their distributors. But I can tell you right now, if you walk in with cash, cash is king, they will negotiate with you. You're not going to get a killer deal knocked off. Again, you're buying your first handgun. But you will be able to save some money if you take cash. Once you've selected the handgun that you want to buy, the dealer is going to want you to fill out a government form. It's called the Form 4473. That's your background check. It is not a registration form. In the state of Indiana, we do not have gun registration. In fact, when they run the background check, they do not inform the government of what kind of gun you are buying. That does go on the form after the fact, so the gun shop has a record of it, and they have to keep that for 7 years. But it does not report to the government what kind of gun you just bought. Now, once you filled out that Form 4473, you have to wait. They're going to do an instant background check. They're going to put it into their computer. There's 3 things that can happen. You can either be a proceed, which at that point means, you've already paid for your gun. ATF has said, or FBI, I'm sorry, through the next check has said, okay, he's clear. He can have his gun, or she can have her gun. Then you walk out with your gun. Easy. The next thing that can happen is they can say, we're going to delay this. We need some more time to look into this person. Now, some things that might cause a delay. If you've just become an American citizen, through naturalization. That can cause a delay. Service in the military with security clearances, I've seen cause a delay. Law enforcement service, I've seen cause a delay. Prior criminal history that has been expunged will definitely cause a delay. There's a number of things that can cause a delay, but those are the four things that I have seen most commonly cause them. The best way to get around that is to put your social security number down on the form. It's optional, but that's the best way to avoid a delay. And then the third option, denial. It's not just a river in Egypt, folks. It's also something that can happen when you go to buy your first gun. If you are denied, it's for a number of reasons. First, maybe you're not the type of person who should be buying a handgun. Perhaps you're a convicted felon. Perhaps you have a mental health history that has shown up on the federal background check. Perhaps they have determined that you're on a terrorist watch list or a government watch list, at which point there's nothing you can do about it. But the thing is, if you are denied and you are a proper person, you need to immediately appeal that decision. There is a process of which you fill out paperwork, you go through the FBI. I'm not well versed in it. I've never had to do it. I've always been an instant proceed. But you fill out the appeal process, you go through the appeal process. The whole time the gun store holds your gun. Or you can just get your money back and walk away. But I'm telling you right now, folks, if you just get your money back and walk away and you've been denied from a gun, that looks real suspicious. If you get denied from a gun and you're a legitimate citizen, you need to go ahead and do the appeals process. That's your duty as an American. Do the appeals process. Figure out why they've denied you your rights. So, once that's all said and done, you take your new handgun home. Now, if you have your license to carry already or your concealed carry permit, and you don't have any training and you haven't shot this new handgun, please do not load it and take it out in public. You are not ready. Take a training course first. Learn the ins and outs of your gun. Take it to the range. Make sure that it's reliable. You're dealing with companies that are known for reliability. But these are machines, folks. They fail. So you want to take your gun out and shoot a couple hundred rounds to it to make sure that your particular model is reliable. I've never had an issue out of any of my guns. Most of my friends have never had any issues out of their guns. But it's not a risk I'd be willing to take on a gun that I'm going to trust my life to. I want to know that it works. So, put a couple hundred rounds through it, test it, train with it. Just take a basic pistol training course if you've never trained with a gun before. And then you're ready to strap your gun on and go out into the world. I hope this has helped for those of you who want to pick out your first gun. And I hope that I've helped illustrate the process of buying a gun. And I hope that I've outlined the things you want to look for in your first handgun. We'll come back and revisit this later. And we'll talk about selecting a home defense handgun, selecting a concealed carry handgun, selecting a target gun. There's a different process for each one of these. But for right now, I want to get you started on your first handgun. Remember, folks, at the end of the day, the level of training you revert to is going to be the worst day of training you've ever had. It's going to be the day of training where you messed up. It's going to be the day of training where you failed. It's going to be the day of training where you couldn't get anything right. And that's where Mr. Murphy's going to strike if you're ever in a gunfight. So it is your responsibility to train and train and train and practice, practice, practice. Remember, the fight that comes to you is the one that's unexpected. The expected gunfight is the one that you can avoid. It's the unexpected one that gets you. So prepare, train, and practice. It's up to you to get good with your gun. It's up to you to know your gun. It's all about your mindset. It's all about your level of training. Thank you again for tuning into the video. Again, I'd like to shout out to my class, 09. Love you all. I'd like to, again, say thank you to U.S. Defense Solutions for everything you guys have done for me over the past couple of years. And if you guys get a chance, check them out. This is Glock Chef here. I appreciate you all coming down. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Share this video to all your friends. And have a great night. God bless America.